It's Okay, You're Not Okay by Devine. Meeting grief and loss in a culture that doesn't understand. This book is really helpful for anyone that's going through grief and loss or knows somebody that's going through grief and loss. The book is split into two kind of distinct parts. The first, acknowledging what to do, how to help someone that's going through grief and loss. And usually we get into these platitudes: time will heal all wounds, they're in a better place, they're no longer suffering. And that's meant to help. The intention's good. What that person really needs in that moment is for you to validate them. And that means acknowledging that they're going through something and letting them know that it makes sense that they're feeling their pain. So those platitudes, they usually come with this, what Megan Devine calls this ghost sentence. Uh, if they're in a better place, stop feeling so bad. If they're not suffering anymore, stop feeling so bad. That's the sentence, the ghost sentence that comes after those platitudes. So it's a big reason why you want to avoid them. The number one thing that people need when they're going through grief and loss is companionship. They need someone that's going to sit there with them, listen to their story, and acknowledge it, validate it, let them know that it makes sense that they're going through what they're going through. The other part of the book, the second part of the book, gets into supporting yourself if you're the one that's going through grief and loss. So it's a very personal process. We usually hear about these stages of grief. You have to move through denial and anger and bargaining, depression, acceptance, and it's like you reach this endpoint where everything's okay, it goes back to normal. And that's not what happens with grief and loss. With grief and loss, you are becoming a new person. You have this new experience that's really painful, and you're trying to find a way to integrate that into your life, to make it a part of your life. And so it's a personal journey. There isn't some prescription that we get through. We can't power through it as quickly as possible. What we need is support from other people, people that will listen and validate us, as mentioned. And then just trying to figure out what's the best way for you to get through it. So maybe that means leaning into the pain and reflecting on the loss, reminding yourself, thinking of memories that make that person feel alive again. Other times it might feel like you need to distract yourself, to remove yourself from the pain, to get some relief. So that's, making a trip to the grocery store, running errands. It's doing something that'll distract you. Maybe it's going to work. There's a lot of different things that you can do. You decide what you need to do, and you need to let your emotions really guide you in this process. So when you find your emotions are shifting from moment to moment, ask yourself, what's in my environment right now? And is this helping me, or do I need to take myself out of that environment? There's other little strategies that she mentions in the book. You can take care of yourself through mental grounding. There's thought stopping, recognizing the neutrality of situations. So often grief and loss can make us feel really anxious and fearful of what might happen next. Just reminding ourselves that something good might happen, something bad might happen, and that makes every day neutral going into it. So that can reduce a lot of the anxiety. And then, of course, eating well, exercising. You may have to change the quantity that you eat. You may have to change the amount that you go and exercise. Some of these things may shift, but you still want to work them into your everyday, just so you can keep feeling good. And then, of course, art's still a way to relate to people that we've lost. So if it's journaling or creative writing, maybe you're doing collages, poetry, whatever art works for you, that's a way that you can still connect to the memory of the person that you've lost. So we're the authors. We're the authors of our grief story. That's something that Megan Devine really, really stresses in the book. There isn't a very cookie cutter way to integrate this experience into our life. We're the ones that decide. And so, we can let people know when we want their company. We can let them know when we need to take a break. But what's most important is that at some point we do share our story about what that person meant to us and what it means to lose them now. At the end of the book, if you want just like a very simple way to digest some of the concepts that are in it, There is a nice checklist that she gives of do's and don'ts. So, do's are listening, validating, asking questions, remembering with the person that's experiencing the pain of the loss. Some of the don'ts, you don't want to talk about the future. You don't want to minimize their experience. You don't want to cheerlead or compliment them to try to boost up their feelings, make them feel good. They just need your companionship. That's the overall theme of the book, is companionship. So I definitely encourage you to pick up this book, give it a read. It's very helpful for yourself and others.